Sure. Morning, everybody. Wow, you guys are right in the front row.
He inspired me. And I don't have a mic up there.
Sorry, I can try to be louder, Megan. How are we doing in the back? I see a couple thumbs.
We're all still a little soggy, but we're all.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep all the equipment dry.
There was a little moisture coming out this morning.
Stephen, Cindy, there's room up front. No? Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. I appreciate everyone being here because I know, speaking of all that, there has probably been a little extra work out in the field the last couple of days because of the weather we've been having. So I appreciate everybody being a part of informing the public during storms and helping Nashvillians and Middle Tennesseans stay safe. And that's where I want to begin this morning. We have another 30 hours or so of potential severe weather approaching Nashville, and we are closely monitoring rivers, creeks, and streams. And as we talked about a little bit yesterday, the smaller the stream, the bigger the risk right now. And I think for us, that's why we are very fortunate to have some technology tools. Flash floods can come quickly, often seeming to come out of nowhere. So for Nashvillians not yet receiving means alerts, I encourage folks to sign up to get those. You can do that on hub.nashville.gov or register by calling 311. And crews, and we've got both OEM and fire here and our water department here, Director Chief Swan and Director Potter. Right now, we've got our rivers and streams manageable, but again, the smaller the stream, the larger the risk. And overall, emergency crews and water crews are out there ready to respond. One of the things I wanted to mention is if you're not sure if your house is in a floodplain where the greatest risk is, you can check on that by searching Parcel Viewer on Nashville.gov and type in your address. You'll see the information about floodplains. Countywide, we know we have 18,000 parcels in our floodplain, so we need homeowners there to know to be aware and be prepared. There may have to be some evacuation scenarios and want to make sure people are prepared for where water could be rising most quickly. Fortunately, overnight, we did not get as much rain as initially forecast. We've also had a dry morning, so that limited impact over the past several hours is allowing water to work its way through in some spots. But we do have 4 inches in the forecast this weekend, more than the 3 inches we had Wednesday. So again, want to ensure that Nashvillians have all the information they need to be prepared. This morning, joined by Director Chief Will Swan from Office of Emergency Management, and Director Scott Potter from Metro Water Services. Going to hand it over to Director Chief Swan for some situational awareness.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, everyone. As always, we want to stress, stay alert, stay alive, and be weather aware, and making sure that in the course of preparing that you make sure that you understand what your plan is. And the worst time to make a plan is in the event of emergency. So make sure that you know where your emergency spots are in your house or safety spots, and make sure you execute that. We also stress too some of the questions that we get asked all the time, whether it is weather from a flood, flash flooding, or tornado. Again, always know where your spots are. Make sure that you have the appropriate gear or clothes on. Make sure you from head to toe have your clothes on, shoes. Make sure you have a care kit or a duffel bag that has batteries, flashlights. Also have an extra phone charger, making sure you have your medications, things of that nature that will make things a little better for you. So first, I just want to thank everybody in the city for their participation in helping us make everyone safe, especially the emergency services. Since this event come in, we've had well over 100, close to 160 water-related calls. We've made multiple rescues, and again, so to Fire, Office of Emergency Management, to PD partners, and of course to Water Department, and we also couldn't do this without having NDOT and so many others that help us out in these circumstances. So what we do to prepare, of course, we have our swift water teams, our dive teams, we have our regular rescues that are always on watch and prepare. We have them central located areas so that if we have multiple rescues or calls come in, we will respond from a certain area to be able to do it in a fast, expedient way. So this weekend, as the mayor noted, we are getting a break today, which much needed break. But this weekend, we are prepared for our main threats will be strong line winds, possible hail, and of course, heavy rain. We think the first round will come in around the 7 a.m. to 1 o'clock. It won't be that strong because the atmosphere hadn't had a chance to energize yet. But that second round from the 5 p.m. to midnight is we're more concerned about as far as the straight line winds, heavy hail, and then of course the rainfall will continue all the way through Sunday. So I'm sure, as Scott will maybe mention a little bit about this, but we know areas that we have potential flood because it's a history of it, so we'll be paying close attention to that. And with the creeks and the rivers and these areas are already swollen levels or active levels, we'll be just really mindful of them. So from our standpoint, we just ask that you be very vigilant. If we put out warning devices, please pay attention to it. We know it doesn't take a lot of water to wash a person away if you're walking in it, but also vehicles or cars. You've seen that quite frequently in the last events Thursday. So again, just stay alert, stay alive. Our teams will be there. We're ready. This is not our first time going through it, but I will say this was a very unique storm because it was so elongated. So again, we appreciate everybody's participation in helping us keep the city safe, check on your neighbors, and make sure that you're mindful of, again, practice makes perfect, and being prepared and being alert. So thank you guys. Scott?
I just want to have Director Potter talk about stormwater, the resources of the water department, again, situational awareness. Scott?
Sir. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. From our perspective, it's all about runoff. The ground is super saturated, and if it's going to rain heavily, all of that rain is not going to absorb, and it's going to run off quickly. The mayor mentioned the smaller the stream, the larger the risk. The reason I think that's accurate is because the streams and the main river stem are being well maintained by the Corps of Engineers. We don't think we're going to have any kind of a main stem issue with flooding, but if it rains really hard, those drainage areas and neighborhoods that have misbehaved in the past are going to misbehave again. So I would encourage homeowners to reflect on what's happened in the past during heavy rain events and anticipate the same thing happening. One thing I'd like to stress to homeowners and business owners is the review of whether or not they need flood insurance. Metropolitan government participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, and we do things at Metro Water Services and within the government that provide for a 10% discount on rates. So you don't have to be in a floodplain or in a floodway to get flood insurance. So if you think your home or business is at risk, I encourage citizens to review whether or not they need flood insurance. From our operations perspective, the water plants are fine. We don't see a risk to either one of those. Our water reclamation facilities are operating well. It is very challenging for us when it rains really heavily on the wastewater side. So if people see manholes overflowing, please give us a call, 862-4600, and let us know, and we'll get out there and take a look. But I want to stress that the level of concern is relatively high, especially in neighborhoods when it comes to those small streams and drainage conveyances. So thank you very much.
All right, we'll come back to questions in just a minute, but again, I think this is an important time to talk about stability of how government works at all levels. We've seen team out in the field. Director Chief Swan has mentioned already this week how important their relationship with the National Weather Service is, and so when we have events like this, I want to express my gratitude for our important departments that are working to keep Nashvillians safe in severe weather. So Director Chief Swan, Director Potter, thank you so much. And you know that over the past few weeks, I've stood at this podium and tried to talk in real terms and seriously about the impact of our stability at a local government level with core partners like Water and OEM, and what we are anticipating as an ongoing series of what appear to be indiscriminate federal cuts and local investments that are specifically counter to progress that we made here in Nashville. Our local government isn't partisan. We are the services that you are hearing about today that Nashvillians rely on every day, and we have to be able to be in a position to respond when Nashvillians call for help. We are here to get trash picked up, snow removed, and roads plowed, potholes filled, and we're going to keep doing that. But the impact that these federal actions are having on our budget are something we can't ignore. Yet again this week we received more news about cuts, again mostly impacting our health department. This comes after 2 Metro grants were cut last week, and we heard that Vanderbilt University Medical Center is reducing its budget by $250 million. This morning, we got some temporary relief as a federal judge offered an injunction on more than $11 billion in federal health funds that the administration sought to withhold. We're going to have to follow these proceedings carefully because that case is not yet complete, and following the ruling will require good faith. This week, though, we learned that the federal government had decided to cut the funding that has supported our Nashville Strong Babies program by more than 50%. Just last year, with federal support, we were able to expand that program countywide. It offers support to mothers, babies, and families from prenatal and pregnancy through the first 18 months of life. And its work literally saves lives and supports a child in ways that ensure that they reach their first birthday and that life gets off to a strong start. Losing that funding would impact more than 400 families in Nashville. Metro Public Health Department would be forced to discontinue some services and redirect clients within a shrinking network of agencies, some of which are already at capacity. The latest estimate right now is that we could see as much as 20 public health folks lose jobs because of it. And when we're able to demonstrate the success of return on public investment, I'm just left wondering what sense it makes to cut funds to programs like that. Ultimately, the greatest potential impact would be that we return to an era when there are significant points of discrimination within prenatal and early childhood care that could be at risk. We know that infant mortality could return to something that we have to keep a close eye on, especially in our communities of color. We could see more mothers dying during pregnancy and during that first year after pregnancy ends. So we're forced to scramble to explore finding ways to make up for that funding and continue this great program. But make no mistake, we will not be able to do that for every program. Another example of a program that got cut this week is an HIV program named for Ryan White. It provides medical support for more than 4,000 people in Davidson County living with HIV. But it operates actually beyond the boundaries of Davidson County, and the federal government has announced an effort to cut nearly $4 million from that program. In an already tight budget year where revenues are flat and costs have increased, the federal government is adding uncertainty to local public finances. Meanwhile, we're continuing to see the good work of our Metro Nashville Police Department paying off across the board. Crime is down through the first quarter. Violent crime is down 12%. Property crime is down 8%. And crime is down 9.6% overall. We've talked about it last year. Metro Nashville Police have put a focus on car-related crimes. Auto theft is down another 18%, which continues the downward trend that started last year. And more good news there, automobile fatalities are down 31%. We know that anyone in our streets and throughout the city, when anyone feels unsafe, we still have work to do. These stats are certainly no consolation to anyone who is already a victim of crime. But I do think it's important to acknowledge progress and success, and we have seen that in Chief Drake's reports on the new D detail, the flex unit that helps precincts all across the city allow officers to be where they're most needed. It's showing up in faster police response times in key areas. We know that minutes matter when responding to incidents of crime and emergency, and our dispatchers also deserve credit for their swift work. The D detail is working effectively for us right now as a force multiplier within the department. One of the areas we knew we needed to improve was response time in the southern part of Davidson County, and the new Southeast Police Precinct is nearing completion with that set to open in the fall. So we expect to see continued performance as we add a 9th precinct and continue the actions of the D detail. Of course, all the rain is going to have an impact on our roadways. As of the end of March, Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure, NDOT, has already filled more than 10,000 potholes. Please do keep submitting those through Hub Nashville, and we will keep sending out crews to fill them in the Nashville and Davidson County area. As the weather warms, we're also going to see our repaving program start back up, and I always want to remind people that interstates, on-ramps, and key state routes like Briley Parkway, Ellington are the responsibility of TDOT, but we do have a lot of coordination to make sure that hub requests get transferred over to them so that TDOT can maintain the sections of road that they're responsible for. And all of this is recognition that it's important to do both the big and small things well. We know that all of these things add up to help people have confidence in government. I was encouraged to see this morning the latest results from the annual Vanderbilt poll that show optimism continuing to grow in Nashville. 58% of Nashvillians have indicated that the city is headed in the right direction, an even stronger majority than last year. It's great progress, a 14-point swing since I took office, and a level of optimism that we had not seen since before the COVID pandemic. I'm very proud of our team in the mayor's office and the hardworking Metro employees who have believed in our focus on customer service, quality of life, and cost of living. And then on that point, an important reminder that this Saturday, April 5th, is the final day to apply or recertify for the property tax relief and freeze programs. The Office of the Metropolitan Trustee will be open tomorrow to assist homeowners submitting applications or payments. Tax relief can help homeowners age 65 and older and homeowners and veterans who are disabled lower their property tax bill or freeze their property tax at its current amount. To see if you might qualify, visit nashville.gov/trustee or call 615-862-6330 to learn more. With that, happy to take any questions.
My first question is yesterday I was out where a tree fell on a house and I was on the street and the wind had blew a lot of trash over and stuff. But there was also there were drainage places that were backed up. So I'm around there with my stick, I'm pulling everything out, so I don't have to walk through it around and whatever. Would you advise people, I guess, I don't know if your street cleaners are out or if y'all doing anything with that, or, because that's where it seems to back up a lot of times. And I guess people out there say, hey, check your streets, make sure they're clean.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you saying that. If you can imagine driving around Nashville, there's hundreds of thousands of drains that immediately foul as soon as it rains for about 10 minutes. So we have crews that clean out the storm drains, what we call rain routes. So today, they're out there cleaning storm drains, especially in areas that we know behave improperly when it rains at all. The problem is when it rains, they get clogged. So as a citizen or business owner, you can provide a great service to your fellow citizen by going out there and cleaning that storm drain off. The best thing to do is to put it on the side of the road. That way it doesn't get back in the storm drain once you clean it. But that is a great service we can provide to each other because that helps the system operate very well. Thank you for bringing that up.
And I'll follow that and say there's some good timing with the Mayor's Spring Clean event we did last week. And I think contributing to that, one of the best services is to avoid littering, because that is, besides, small branches and the things that otherwise clog, the last thing you want to see in a storm drain is some kind of plastic wrapper or something that can't fit down the drain and contribute to that clogging. So that overall cleanup and the idea of preventing litter also helps with that. Stephen, I saw you.
The short-term plan for the people at Old Tent City is the roadway or something like that. But what's the mid and long-term plan, especially with uncertainty around federal housing funding?
Yeah, Stephen, that's a good question. We're very fortunate to have a new partner, Hospitality Hub, in the mix of our rapid rehousing ecosystem. So they're going to be contributing as a service provider to offer that short-term interim housing. But one of the things I'm eager to see in the upcoming unified housing strategy is one of the things they've anticipated is a strategy for accelerating permanent supportive housing delivery. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. But it is one of the things that is a top priority for us. We've already had concern expressed from the Office of Homeless Services that even though we had through last year improved our performance in terms of steadily increasing awards from HUD for our continuum of care, it is currently that all of that funding is at risk. And so we're in this budget cycle, one of the things we're looking at is programs that were successful, including some of our housing funding programs through American Rescue Plan Act and CARES Act, which of those we can successfully structurally include in this budget and our ongoing capital spending. So there are some unknowns there. Come to Megan.
I know that you guys are super busy with lots of other things, but assessing the East Bank, are you guys looking at the flooding that's going on there? I know that going forward, you're going to have to plan for that, and I live over there, so I know how it gets. So I was just wondering, are you looking into that as we're kind of
I'll offer a quick comment and then turn to Director Potter. We have had, since I've been in office, a series of discussions with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Scott has indicated already their management of the Cumberland River is a key part of any high water event, but that has absolutely impacted guidance we've absorbed within our East Bank development process, but also with the private property owners over there. And Scott, I don't know if you want to say more.
So I could go on for hours about what we've done with the analysis about the East Bank. The best news is we've worked with the Corps really closely, and they've modeled a complete build-out of the East Bank. And you may recall last year there was legislation passed that made the East Bank its own special stormwater management district. And the goal for us in working with our East Bank partners is to treat that entire area as one parcel. And over the course of the development, to end up with a stormwater management system, both quality and quantity, that's extraordinarily better than what we started with. So I feel completely comfortable with the modeling. I feel completely comfortable with the planning. And I can assure the citizens of Nashville that as we go through the construction of East Bank, and especially when we're done, the stormwater quality management on the quality and quantity side will be much better.
Scott, do you want to talk to, just this may be a good time to mention the stormwater improvements from Second Avenue rebuild?
Yes, sir. We separated storm from sanitary on Second Avenue, and that dramatically improved. I would hope everybody notices the smell on Second Avenue, because we separated the sanitary from the storm, and the team that redeveloped Second Avenue was very vigilant in making sure that we were a participant in that. So that's going to improve the drainage of Second Avenue, and also it improves the smell and improves the flow to the plant. Everything about that redevelopment on Second Avenue was very, very positive for us on the storm side.
Can I just quickly, I know that people are concerned about ground permeability on the East Bank, but given this information about Second Ave, do you think that what you guys are doing potentially as you develop the East Bank, that it could potentially help with some of the storm water?
Well, the engineering answer to that is not really, because it won't make it any worse. But from a quality perspective, what I'm going to say is this. If you look at a bird's eye view of the East Bank right now, it's mostly concrete and asphalt. So as that gets redeveloped, each parcel and each development, they're being very intentional about capturing runoff and treating it before it gets back to the river. So from a quantity perspective, there's not a whole lot you can do, either good or bad, on the East Bank, because it's relatively flat. So it's not going to cause any harm to either the East or the West Bank on a quantity side. The opportunity the city has is to improve the water quality, and we're doing everything possible to do that. And I feel really excited about that prospect, because, like I said, if you look at it from a bird's eye view now, it's asphalt and kind of gross.
Let's do two more.
Come up here.
Another question for you about federal cuts. We've recently seen I think it was like the entire staff of the low-income home energy assistance program laid off federally. I was wondering if you have an idea of local impacts that had.
We have not gotten, to my knowledge, memos there, but I will say Metro Action Commission is one of those departments that has a significant portion of its budget covered by specifically federal programs like LIHEAP. And unfortunately, they're also one of the agencies within Metro that interacts constantly with our low-income and most vulnerable population. So that is an area of deep concern. It's rather like the Nashville Strong Babies program cuts. That is specifically focused on a higher risk population of mothers and infants. And so we have very, very profound concerns about the impacts to our most vulnerable Nashvillians right now. But we have not, what we've quantified is basically the entire range of federal grants within general government and Metro schools, and they do run into the hundreds of millions of dollars, and program by program we're keeping a close and careful eye on them, because it is absolutely going to impact service delivery and cause, again, a tremendous amount of uncertainty about our budget process. I'll go back to that.
Apart from getting ready for the storms last week, it was a big week Wednesday for the covenant investigation, everything. Just
what are your initial thoughts on that? Anything you want to say about the investigation?
Chief Drake reviewed with us that the investigation was closing, and they have released that report, which I have seen a copy of. It seemed as though their broadest conclusion was that the shooter there was, above all, seeking notoriety. And, I think what I've been most impressed by is not only that initial response from the Metro Police Department, from their partners and first responders with OEM and so many others being there on the scene, but then also the way that Chief Drake and the department have been there for the families of victims. I was just with Chief Drake at a remembrance ceremony on March 27th at that 2-year anniversary after the fact, and I think for me, my primary interest right now is making sure that we continue to support the families of victims at Covenant. Thanks.
We gotta go.